What's up, family? It's the Yungavelle here again. I am going to be talking about my ayahuasca experience that I had in the Amazon jungle today. So, if you don't know what ayahuasca is, it's basically it's a plant medicine that the shamans use in the Amazon jungle to access altered states of consciousness. The active ingredient in it is a molecule called dimethyltryptamine, which is largely known as the spirit molecule. Okay, the DMT is naturally produced in nature. It's naturally produced in your brain. It's produced in your brain most when you sleep, i.e. dream, when you're born, and when you die. So this molecule is tied to your consciousness accessing and having contact with higher levels of information, higher dimensions basically. So this drink is chock full of that. So what happens is people that are suffering from real deep trauma, you know, a lot of soldiers that have PTSD, all types of people that have trauma and have there's no clinical, they're tired of taking drugs because the drugs don't serve the purpose. This is like their last resort. They go to the jungle just to see, and they don't even believe in this because it's classified as like woo-woo and all that. They go to the jungle as a last resort. So enter the Earth Mother and the drink, ayahuasca. So ayahuasca is made from mashing a vine up with a leaf. You mash it up together and you boil it for like a day or something like that, and it extracts the DMT from the leaf and the root or something like that, the vine, and so it's in the drink just has the DMT in it. So you drink it, you get it, it's in your system now, and basically you have now merged yourself with plant consciousness, with the consciousness of the planet. Actually, the Earth Mother moves within the plants. So you have now merged yourself with a goddess that is, first of all, she's a being of love. She's here of service. She allows us to have all our experiences on her body. She loves us. She gives everything sustenance freely and asks of nothing. So when you ingest her consciousness, why are you here? Okay? I'm here because it's important that you go with an intention. You know, your intention is healing. So what she will do is she will bring up all of your issues right up to your face so you can acknowledge them and face them and deal with them. And it's a lot for people because these traumas are like childhood traumas that people don't even remember that they had those experiences because it's locked away in their brain. But she activates it and brings it up so it can be cleared, and then when they come out of the experience, they feel much more lighter. They feel like legit. Everyone is like, I feel lighter. So I did it as well. So I had 4 ceremonies because I had got into a relationship that I wanted that I shouldn't have been in. Should is a strong word because we're dealing with universal paths and all this stuff. That's way over my head. But still, I wanted to get that energy away from me, and I just wanted to release it and move forward from it. So I went to the jungle, and it was crazy. She worked with me. The first experience I had visions of Ganesha, the elephant head. I had 3 elephant heads that were on a branch, and I was floating towards them, and each one had a ruby red gem emanating from it, and I was floating towards it. And that was the first ceremony, that was the first vision that stood out that from the whole experience. I was like, okay, that was weird. I never was into like Hinduism or anything like that, or I never cared about that. Like, I was just a conscious guy, and I was interested in, like, you know, consciousness, the nature of the universe, and oneness and all that stuff. But not Hinduism specifically. So I put that vision aside. Cool, whatever. The third vision is when she brought me through all of my relationships that I believe that I was karmically bound to. And I saw how I affected the people in my relationships, the women that I was with, and the last one, the one that I was there for, she put it in a way where I was able to respond differently to it. Where basically it was like I had a choice. I can either react or respond the same way that I did initially to get me in that situation when I did do it, or I could react differently. And I chose to react differently. I reacted differently. She brought me through my first one. I saw my one of my college girlfriends. I was walking with her, and I tried to say some like slick, smooth shit. But I didn't really want to be with her. I tried to say some slick, smooth shit, and her friend came and put her arm around her, like, "Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Wow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." She called me out right like that on the spot. And then the door closed, and I could see the girlfriend's face, like she had tears. Door closed. Next scene, I'm sitting in front of another girl that I had been with, and she just kept saying, "But you don't want to be with me though. You don't want to be with me though." And I was like, "That's right, I don't." Next scene, the one that I'm with now, or the one that I'm there for. She's on the phone she's having like some sort of like abusive conversation. She's in my car. And I'm just like, "Yo, put the phone down." And then I was like, wait. It's not my place to interject myself in that, whatever they got going on. That's not my place. So I dropped her off. Go ahead, do your thing. I dropped her off. And I rode out of the hood or whatever, and it was a longer scenario, but that was the gist of it. And I rode out of the hood, and I kind of like rode out to freedom or whatever. It was interesting. So that was the third ceremony out of 4, and I came out of the third one like, that's what I came here for. And it was just after that. So after the ceremony, we integrate. After the 4 ceremonies, we integrated, and I prepared to come back to the States. So I was basically telling God, like, the universe, can you put me into contact with a spiritual teaching that's gonna help me to stay steady as I come back to the concrete jungle of the United States. And to keep me focused, to help me integrate, because I know I'm going to have to integrate everything that I learned, and it's going to be challenging to be amongst the material rat race as I'm integrating everything I learned in this simplistic jungle environment where everyone and everything is close to the Earth Mother. Something that I know in my heart and I've been feeling, and now I have a powerful experience to really justify that, and now I got to go back to the rat race with this. So please put me in contact with a teaching. I go back home, and I'm looking for teachings and stuff. I come across the Tao Te Ching, which is great. If you haven't listened to the Tao, I highly recommend it by Lao Tzu. It's like a Taoism. It's great. So I was like, I listened to that already. Then I came across the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, changed. The stuff that's in the Bhagavad Gita is like no other. Other religious thing. I'm not religious. Y'all know that by now. I'm not religious at all. But I can see the elements of truth within each religion. The Bhagavad Gita, it spoke about the living entity, the super soul, karma, time, and material nature. 5 things I'm like, okay, that's pretty essential and fundamental when we're talking about reality and existence, and their relationship, and how you can end. 4 of them are eternal, but the one that's not eternal out of those 5 is karma. And the way that you can stop that karma is by recognizing that the soul's natural position, the living entity's natural position, is loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality, to the whole. You know, they call Krishna or God, which just means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you act from that place, coming out of service, how can I be of service? Your actions are no longer karmically bound. So it's this whole thing where, and it's a history, it's an account. You should just look it up, because it's a whole nother, there's just so much relevant account history in it. Like there's ET crafts flying around on the battlefield back then, because it's an account of what happened 5,000 years ago. And on the battlefield, this one soldier, his name is Arjuna, he's so much more than a soldier though. He was just like, I can't fight, I can't do this, because he had his family members on the other side, and Krishna had incarnated, because you know God comes and incarnates. It's just a real thing, you know. Why not? Why cannot the Supreme come into the creation and aid those who are willing to wake up? You got Buddha that came, you got Lord Ram that came, so Krishna came as well. Krishna in full force came and was on Arjuna's team or whatever in his fleet, and was like, you're lamenting for something that doesn't need to be lamented for. Never was there a time where you did not exist, nor I, nor all these kings, and never will there be a time where any of us shall cease to be. Just as the seasons change, the soul transmigrates from one body to the next, and it just went in. And I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. Come to find out, this is all classified in Hinduism, which Hindu is just actually, it's really Vedic. Vedic means knowledge. Hindu is just a word that the Muslims gave this sect of knowledge because they invaded, and it was north of the Sindhu River, and they couldn't pronounce the H, the S, so they said Indu. This was Indu. But so that's why all this stuff is called Hinduism, but it's really not. It's the Vedic, it's the most ancient literature spiritually, and it hit me, everything that they were saying in that. So I looked up everything, all the history of what led up to that war. And it was about the 5 brothers, the Pandavas, the Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and you know, you got great personalities and entities like Shiva in there. And I was listening to Shiva's, and I said this in one of my videos, this is why Shiva means so much to me. Shiva was addressing Krishna in one of his prayers and austerity, you know, meditation, and in that prayer he was like, you are the possessor of semen, which is like gold. And here I am, and now I'm on the no-fat path, and I see how powerful this semen retention is, and how everyone's starting to kind of get on that wave now. And get this, Ganesha, the elephant, is son of Shiva. So the visions that I saw that the Earth Mother showed me of the elephant heads were actually, that was the son of the entity or the personality that moved me the most in the Vedic literature. And that's why I have Shiva on my shoulder, just to keep me on that path. So yeah, ayahuasca is no joke. If you're ready to address those things, if you have things that you want to address and you find it difficult to let go of them, the Earth Mother will help you. You're dealing with a goddess here. So there was this one time where a guy was like, he was shown these visions because he did ayahuasca, and he was like, he saw forests and jungles and mountains and deserts and the plains, and then panned back, and he was like, that's just it was a female's body. And he was like, I saw fires on her body, and she told me that those fires were from plastic. And he was like, he felt so sad. What can he do? So then she showed him a scene where everyone's moving so fast, and then he touched one person. That person stopped, looked around. That person touched someone. Then that person stopped and looked around. And then so on and so forth. And she was like, that's how it's going to happen. that's how the awakening is going to happen. And that's how it's happening. So she said, you do that. You just do your part and leave the rest to me. She said, and I'll handle the rest. And he was like, when she said, I'll handle the rest, I felt the power of a planet. And it was almost too much. It was... And when I read that he said that, I was like, we're talking with a goddess here, man. We have no, we can't even fathom her strength, you know. So she can help. So that's all I really wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. If you got something from this video, please share, comment, like, and subscribe. Let's talk. Let's dive deeper into these topics and let's grow. So until next time, remember, a greater perspective can lead to a greater connection.